Network Entertainment.
This is brought to you by Meralco.
This is Breaking Down the Buzz, and I'm your host, Ed Timbungco, PR Manager of Mang Inasal. I have been in the industry for 3 decades now. I have had experience in both public and private companies, both sa corporate, the client side, and also agency side. And my weekends I spend teaching part-time also, preparing the next generation. Okay, so do you know that you're all part of history? Yes, you are. The PRSP Youth Con in a podcast is the first of its kind in the communications industry. Breaking Down the Buzz is in partnership with the Pod Network. This collaboration really shows how the different entities work together to create innovative ideas to reach more students and young professionals. By using platforms like podcasts, PRSP and the Pod Network deliver learnings to a wider audience. This is a pioneer event in the PR industry and for allied industries in using craft and technology for innovative and sustainable activations. Breaking Down the Buzz is a 12-part podcast series that tackles one different topic every podcast. The 12 topics are designed to be relevant to students and practitioners of PR and communications. Our discussions are current and fresh, and the talk points are direct, easy to digest, and very useful for school or your current work. In short, suitable for all young listeners and best for all ages. So, without further ado, let's get started. Today is exciting and very rewarding because our topic is PRSP's own renowned and respected awards body. To discuss the Anvil Awards legacy, excellence, and best practices in PR, our esteemed guests are Mr. Norman Agatep, APR, President and Managing Director of Grupo Agatep, and Mr. Chito Sobrepeña, APR, President of Metrobank Foundation. So let's hear first from our guests about their experience. First question, what attracted you to communications and did you set out to be a communicator, sir?
Well, magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Maraming salamat sa pag-iimbita dito sa activity na ito. Well, I have been a development practitioner. I joined NEDA after graduation from the university. But I was exposed to development communication at that early point. And I felt that it is not enough that government undertakes good projects. It has to be communicated well. That being the case, so I decided to merge program development as well as communication. So that's how it evolved.
Okay.
My story is a bit different because when I graduated from high school, I wasn't exactly too sure as to where I would go. So I first took up business management. But for those who know me and my family, the members of our family belong to some discipline in communication. So while we would be eating our lunch or having dinner Sundays together, we'd be discussing our favorite commercials, talking about some communication programs we've been a part of. So I guess it was inevitable. And so after having graduated in business management, I took up communication afterwards. Greatly because I was influenced by members of my own family who were into communications too.
Thank you. So we expect different perspectives, no, given your experiences, especially as we talk about the Anvil Awards. Can you please share a brief history of the Anvil and on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, how would you rate the Anvil as measure of effective PR in the local practice?
Sige, let me begin, Ed. No? So while pareho tayo na we've been in PR for only 3 decades, the Anvil has been here for 59 years. I think we're celebrating our 59th year this year. So, well, I will not go into how it all started 60 years ago because we were not present then yet. But my experience through the history of the Anvil is through my dad, who was also a PR professional, and who would tell us stories about his own entries, when he was in working in pharma, when he was working in with Mobil Oil, well, he was working in agrochemicals, and he would be sharing with us these programs and how they helped the communities where their products were or where their companies were operating. And eventually, I got to understand the Anvil through his experience. And in my own practice, also as a PR professional, we were able to develop similar projects for our own clients that also won grand and platinum anvils. So yes, as we transition, for example, from the previous generation of my dad to ours, it's clearly seen how the Public Relations Society of the Philippines has been active in harvesting, in finding the best programs and tools that have been uh, executed throughout a year. And as you will see, every year talagang tumataas ang quality and standards in our search for those winners. So yes, I would say that the anvils are very much connected to the PRSP. I think we are the Oscars as far as awards for PR is concerned. And I'm very happy to be part of it still today.
Thank you, Sir Norman. From the point of view of the foundation, Sir Chito, having been awarded the Grand Anvil in previous Anvil awards, how has it impacted on the way on what you're doing in the foundation?
Yeah. After I have experienced judging the Anvil. Actually, yun ang una kong pagkakataon naimbita ako nung ako yung nasa pamahalaan pa
Apo.
na maging member ng judging panel. So sabi ko, wow, ang galing naman ito. Very thorough. It appealed and resonated with my technocratic experience, NEDA being a planning agency at the
Yes.
time that I was serving in the judging panel. So right after that year, 1995, I moved over to Metrobank Foundation. And I already told my group there that, hoy, sali tayo dito kasi we'd like to see that kung ano yung ginagawa natin, let's offer it to an independent group so that they could tell us, give us feedback whether what we're doing in terms of communication and public relations are useful. So, simula nun, it has always been part of our work planning, which program that we are developing will be submitted as an entry. So that's why we were able to have in our roster, just like Grupo Agatep and Charlie Agatep, who is my mentor, I would like to say, close to 90
That's amazing.
Anvil trophies
Wow.
since 1984. Even before I came, 1984, 1985, we already won Anvils for our Outstanding Teachers program
Yes.
and also for our arts program. But natigil natulog. Then nung bumalik ako, o nung nag-join ako nung 1995, binalik ko. And since then, we have been reaping the trophies. But you mentioned about the Grand Anvil, its impact. In 2010, we won the Grand Anvil for our Search for Outstanding Teachers. So from 1984 na honorable mention or whatever they call it at the time, it won the Grand Anvil. And that really pushed our credibility, no, as far as the Department of Education, the other universities, colleges, etc. And so it increased right after we won. It increased the number of nominations for our recognition program. And we were blessed. The following year, we won another Grand Anvil.
Yes. Back to back.
Back to back. The first, I think the only corporate foundation that has won back to back Grand Anvil so far. And it was, the program was an offshoot of the search for outstanding teachers. It's the National Teachers Month campaign. Since we are not able to honor teachers, we can only honor 10. So Brother Armin Luistro and myself decided, why don't we have a campaign? Say, thank you, teacher. And so that was the theme of our campaign. And because of that, after submitting the entry, we won the Grand Anvil.
Ang galing. So yun talaga yung pride point ng foundation. No? Kayo lang yung back-to-back Grand Anvil winner.
Yeah.
In the case of Grupo Agatep, no, of course, kilala na yung Agatep name in the local industry. But are you able to leverage on the Anvil wins of your client when you do a pitch, for instance, or look for a prospective
Yes, certainly.
customer?
So it's part of what we tell our clients, prospective clients, that we do good work and our good work is recognized. I think it helps them also understand as to the things that they can still do that can benefit more people and that are awarded. No? Because they also see the benefit of having won an Anvil. No? If they themselves do win, they also feel pride amongst themselves, and this is the knowledge of being able to mount a campaign that benefits many or that's public good is something that they also feel and helps their culture. So we do it is a point of pride of the agency to share that information with prospective clients, and it's also better for us when we recognize or we feel that they see the importance as well.
Actually, kwento ko lang, no?
Yes, sir.
Si Charlie, tinawagan ko yan, no? Sabi ko, I'm thinking of revamping our flagship program, yung Outstanding Teachers. So sabi niya, dito ako na ang kunin mo kasi maganda naman yung mga produkto namin.
Any opportunity,
Yeah,
sir?
no, kaya sige. Unfortunately, hindi ko siya kinuha. I just learned from him. And never mind. He has been very supportive throughout my journey in the Anvil.
Yes, sir. Since our audience are primarily students, what's in it for them, knowing that there is this Anvil program for the local PR practice?
Ed, I've had students in PR who I see going up the stage come Anvil Gabi ng Parangal night, no? And we would jokingly meet outside sa may photo wall and see, we would say parang may silbi naman pala yung pinag-aralan natin sa and they're all very happy to hold one, ha?
Yes.
Kahit man lang kahit hindi Grand Anvil pa, no? But just again, it's a badge of honor, I guess, and they know they worked hard for it because they understand that there's a lot of work that goes into PR, and having the recognition from peers as well as people who've been in this industry for a long time and judging their work as to be excellent is something that they're really proud to boast of. Yeah.
What do you think contributed to the longevity of the award, given that we're celebrating the 59th year of the Anvils this year?
I think this is also related to your previous question on what sets us apart. I think we are the only award-giving body that really celebrates public relations. Kasi iba, business communication, or advertising, pero yung programs of public relations as well as the execution of certain tools. Locally, there is no other award that celebrates that in the magnitude that we do. And kaya nga nasa plan lagi ng mga companies that are actively doing corporate good to invest in entering into the Anvil Awards. No? And so dahil nga siguro pataas ng standards and corporate communication right now is a need. You really have to practice this today. Dati kasi parang it was a want maybe. Now it's very crucial already for companies be doing corporate good. to build their brand and reputation. And so, even more so as we go through the years, it's becoming even more relevant for companies today to spend time and effort in entering the Anvil Awards.
Yun yung dahilan kung bakit ang Metrobank Foundation sumasali lagi sa Anvil. Kasi we spend a lot of time designing, formulating programs. Whether massive programs like Outstanding Teachers or Metrobank Art and Design Excellence. But we also want to ensure that this is communicated well. And the Anvil provides us an opportunity to amplify our message. I'm so happy that PRSP, through the Anvil, has made sure that the content of the awards, especially the various categories, focus on common good, on the public good. So swak na swak yung mga foundation kasi yun ang trabaho namin eh.
Yes.
Mag-isip ng programa para tumulong sa mga mahihirap, sa mga nakakalimutang sektor ng lipunan. But at the same time, we have a forum by submitting our entry, and then we are judged as excellent. Then we propagate that.
Okay.
So it really helps our brand. Kami, ang Metrobank Foundation, syempre nagre-reflect sa mother company. Yan. So we're doing good as a bank. Salamat sa PRSP.
And I guess yung process of preparing an entry is also an opportunity for the brand to do some introspection, no, and reflect parang did we achieve our objectives? Saan kami ano yung aspect na there were wins or victories, and saan pa yung areas for improvement, no?
Yes. Maganda yung nagbibigay ng feedback.
Yes.
Ang secretariat o ang panel of judges, no? I have attended many or almost all of the awarding ceremonies and look at the souvenir programs. Laging meron doong summary of what were the topics discussed. Merong suggestions yung mga judges. To me, somebody who is involved in the education sector, nakakatuwa yun. Lalo na sa mga estudyante na nakikinig sa atin ngayon, no? At saka sa mga young comms professional sa mga kumpanya at organisasyon. It's very important to get to listen. How else you can improve, sabi mo nga.
Yes, sir. Sa perspective naman ng agency,
Well, I was going
Sir
to say,
Norman.
especially if you develop, let's say, from the agency standpoint, a program that's being sustained over a long period,
yes.
you get to look back at what you did for this year, for example, and compare the results versus last year, and see if you are really contributing even more so as your program progresses.
Yes.
So maganda eh. You're right eh. When you develop your own entries, for example, it really is an invitation to check what you're doing and how you did better if you did at all.
Yes.
Because all the time, Anvil Awards criteria would always say innovation.
Yeah.
So kami, for example, since 1984 pa yung aking programs, dalawa sila. So kung isasali ko ngayong taong ito, ano ba ang innovation?
Yung bago, yes.
So pag nagbe-brainstorming kami ng aking comms team, anong innovation? Anong iniba natin ba? So as you said, it allows us to introspect in the way we do program development,
Yes.
program implementation.
And I think that's very important because even our own stakeholders are evolving.
Yes.
So
Tama.
the way that we execute our programs need to evolve at their pace as well.
Talking about the evolving landscape, is there any aspect of the way PR is practiced locally that you think the Anvil Awards should also recognize or look into?
Absolutely. I'll tell you a little story. In 2007, I think, we won the Platinum Anvil for a PR tool. Ang tool namin at the time, vlog.
Wow.
Vlog. Ngayon, ang dami-daming vlog na yun. Pero at the time, this was for the Department of Tourism, where we had a Filipino-American who was a content creator on YouTube to visit the Philippines and to encourage her other Filipino Americans to come home again, to visit the country again. So she had her eyes, nagpa-LASIK surgery siya dito. We chronicled all of that. Pero now everybody's doing a vlog, but at that time, it was such an innovative use of media that it won the platinum. So you're right, no, absolutely, no. Ngayon, there are many other platforms through which we can communicate good, no, that are being consumed by the public. And we ought to be where the public is, wherever they go, and use these various platforms to infiltrate that with some form of good that our companies are capable of.
Is that the common thread among the set of Anvil winners through the years? Yung going beyond just being effective in terms of, let's say, attaining profit objectives or other business objectives, but really doing something extra, doing something good for the society. Common ba yun?
I will be the first to respond. I think so, because right now I think we are developing a culture amongst consumers who are now conscious of these things. They have an ethical mind. They will patronize brands that they know are authentic and that are doing good dahil nasa puso talaga nila.
Yes.
They can see and smell if a company is doing this for greenwashing. And so therefore, the more authentic your PR programs are, and the more that is demonstrated amongst consumers, the more that consumers will eventually patronize those brands.
Yes. And I think authenticity is really the call of the hour, for all brands, to be true to your roots, to what you stand for as a company or as a brand. Okay. May wish list ba tayo sa Anvil? Like, both from the side of the agency and the brand, or in this case, a foundation.
Yeah. Although it might be challenge, it will be a challenge for us as entrants, no. But we need to study the kinds of strategies that we will undertake in terms of communicating, like focus more on digital and social media, influencer marketing, crisis communication online. So siguro yun. We can have Anvil, PRSP, develop categories that will match this emerging trends in how to reach people.
Yes. Because I think through the recognition, you get to encourage the practice more, no?
That's right.
Ako,
Sir
that's
Norman.
exactly my point of view. No? So every time I'm invited to judge, hindi ko alam kung masyado akong harsh, but when I'm looking, tinitingnan ko, may breakthrough ba ito? Di ba ginawa na natin ito 10 years ago? No? Is there anything else that we can do right now? And it seems like marami no? I agree very much with what Chito said na yung creative use of influencers, for example. You and I, we believe in real-time PR.
Yes.
These are things that are new territory for many of us practitioners, and we need to encourage more practitioners to get into that, and to kasi nandun nga ang consumers natin stakeholders.
Kaya nga
natin.
pagpasok ko dito sabi ko, kaya ako tinanggap itong imbitasyon na ito. Gusto kong matuto kung paano ba nagkakandak ng podcast.
Yes.
I've heard about it for the longest time, but yeah.
So hindi lang yung media ngayon ang gumagamit ng channel, no, but even brands, no, and other stakeholders meron ng platform also to tell their brand story. Okay. So I think that's it. Meron ba kayong mga last minute tips to those who would like to enter their respective PR programs and tools sa Anvil?
Well, while the Anvil is there encouraging everybody to enter, I would encourage also people to really look deep into their programs and to find out kung anong contribution nito sa society. While we're after the sizzle of the award, there has to be the meat too. No, kumbaga kung hindi hefty din naman yung program natin, let's rethink if we should really enter it or not. No? But if you do have those great entries, please send. We would like to celebrate them, of course. And we'd be very excited to hear about what you're doing currently as far as public relations is concerned.
Yes. Sir?
Yeah, i-echo ko lang yung sinabi ni Norman. Talagang it's very important that we are able to bring out the good that we are doing coming from the business sector. Because we are a poor country, business has to be seen as doing something good for the society. And it's not just tooting our own horns, but really authentically doing and delivering the service to the poor and the other beneficiaries.
Yes. Kasi in essence, PR really is about, not just about doing it right, but also doing the right thing, given the circumstances, and making sure people know that you're also doing that, di ba? Kasi I don't know if it's typical among Filipinos na parang ayaw magbuhat ng sariling bangko.
Yeah.
No? So I am sure marami pa rin mga best practices here locally that the Anvil has not recognized yet. No? But eventually, no? Maybe as we celebrate our 60th year, no? That would be a good opportunity. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for this discussion. I hope meron pang mga susunod na conversations about the Anvil. I'm sure in a few months' time, mag-iiba na rin ulit yung dynamics, no, ng industry and how the Anvil responds to these developments. So that's a wrap for this episode of Breaking Down the Buzz, the PRSP YouthCon in a podcast in partnership with the Pod Network, a pioneer 12-episode series designed for students and young practitioners of PR and communications. We hope that you learned something from this podcast. Join us for the next episode as we continue to create online discussions on the topics and touch points that matter. Thank you to our Anvil Awards gurus, Sir Norman Agatep, APR, President and Managing Director of Grupo Agatep, and Sir Chito Sobrepeña, APR, President of the Metrobank Foundation, for the inspiring tales of excellence and the metrics that validate good work in this podcast on the Anvil Awards legacy, excellence, and best practices in PR. These learning sessions are created and organized by the Public Relations Society of the Philippines Education Committee. Finally, PRSP and the Pod Network thank all the podcast listeners. We hope we shared some value to our chosen profession of PR and communications. I'm Ed Timbungco, your host, inspiring you to dream big. Send entries to the Anvil Awards.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.